me again.
Mm,
Video.
it's probably under more.
Yeah, they moved it to a different spot there. Record, there it is.
Recording in progress.
There you go.
Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody to the July edition of the Tips and Tricks SIG, where typical format is our open forum, and then we'll break into our topics, which I had sent out to everybody. Please note that there may be a few additional items that are on the topics that are not been sent out to everybody, but things that I'd like to cover tonight, if time permits. With that, I will open up the floor with the first question for the first question of the evening. Does anyone have any questions they'd like to propose to the group? I know Dennis, since you're a newbie, you probably got loads of questions for us.
Well, last time I did attend the Linux meeting last week, I guess it was. And at that time, I was able to log in. I'm on my Chromebook now, but I'm trying to log in using my old Samsung 8.1. And I was able to log in last week. This week, I hit launch meeting and it's not working. So I guess it finally caught up to me that it's not going to work on the 8.1.
Have you?
Well, you're supposed to be on Zoom 6.1.1.
I think when I went there, it wouldn't let me update to that since I was on Windows 8.1. I don't think it would let me go up to there.
If
Right.
that's the case, sorry,
Yeah.
but a lot of software, when it is passed end of life, you don't get any new updates, and some even stops.
So Dennis, I do want to ask, are you sure you're using the most current link that I sent out in this last email?
Came out Sunday.
Okay, now hang on a second. This thing has been sitting here for more than
Centuries?
5 minutes, but now,
Go ahead.
now it's trying to say it's connecting.
Okay,
So
because
it
I
just
have
took-
not received the notification of it trying to get in.
No, he's got to click on join first to get
Okay.
that.
I did.
Oh,
It's
there
now,
it is, Dennis.
It is, okay, finally. Boy, it never took this long before. That's interesting.
Well, I've got a 10 system.
I still don't see the window
yeah.
yet, but I mean, it just says connecting. It's twirling, saying connecting, but we'll see.
It takes a while,
Okay.
even on Windows 11.
Okay.
That's why I always try to log in before the 7 o'clock hour.
So this is your wife's old 8.1, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And you're still using it in the capacity that it was originally given to her for? It had to do with the church.
Actually, no. A lot has changed in the past year,
Okay.
and now, from where it used to be, where I couldn't touch this except for a Zoom meeting, now she's using a Chromebook like all the time.
Okay.
And what she was doing before with the church and being connected on this 8.1 to Excel 365,
Right.
she doesn't need that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So
So you can now upgrade this to 11 or 10?
very possibly, but then again, being able to use the Excel is the only nice thing about keeping it.
Yeah,
Well,
but I mean,
But I do want to switch
Excel-
over to LibreOffice, so I probably would convert it.
when
Excel
you
will still stay on there. Excel won't go away.
no, the software doesn't go away. Your data doesn't go away. It only updates the operating system. But I'm not sure if 10 will allow a Windows 8 license still. It used to be
that's-
true, but I don't know if it still is.
Well,
Okay.
they allow 7, don't they?
I don't think
7 and 8 are all in the same boat. They did allow it for years, but now I don't know if this last year they're going to allow it. So if you're going to try it, you have to try it real soon because by September or October, that's the 1 year date to end of life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now all of a sudden it's saying the connecting things is not responding. So
Yeah.
it's not working. But no big deal. I mean, the other thing is I may try to also switch this one to a Linux machine. So I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do.
Linux
Okay.
would be a good choice.
According
Yeah.
to the web, the free upgrade officially ended in 2023, but there's scattered reports of some people still being able to do it. So I would say give it a try. The worst that's going to happen is Microsoft is going to say, sorry, it's no longer free, and you're stuck.
Right. Right.
It
I
won't
have a
kill your
question.
system, but I would go and see if you can get it.
Yeah.
Go to Microsoft.com and see if you can download the ISO and give it a whirl.
If you can get it fixed up for Linux, then you will be able to get the latest version for Linux
He's
version.
got
Yeah.
the Mint 21.3.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I do have another computer that has Windows 10 on it that I use for my financial stuff. Normally, I don't log in online with that computer.
Dennis, you're showing up.
Okay, good. Yeah, there it goes.
There he is.
Wow, it took the super
Wow,
longest
that
time.
is really running.
Yeah, it
smooth.
always will take a long time on an old processor.
Yeah.
What was it? A Pentium class processor?
No,
This one
The Samsung.
had a Intel Pentium. Yeah,
Oh, it was
Intel Pentium CPU B950
Yeah.
at 210
Yeah.
megahertz.
That's going to be slow. That's going to be slow.
That's going to be slow. And, that
It
you
used to
almost
be.
want to just leave it.
Using it for Excel was great because I'm slow when you're typing in numbers and stuff. I'm slow.
I'm the
So it
same
worked
way
great
with
for that.
I'm the same way with spreadsheets.
Does anyone
Yeah.
know? Does anyone know if he can deregister that Samsung with Windows 3? I'm sorry, Office 365, and then put his Windows 10 and move it over the license over to that one. Does anyone know if that's possible?
Supposedly, yes, if you're on the Microsoft 365, because that goes through a browser. You don't even have to deregister. You just you have to check out first if they will still recognize your login under 10 since you've been accessing it on 8.1. That's the only question. If they say it doesn't matter, go ahead and go up to 10. But 10 dies in a year or so.
Yeah, but that's
Me too.
I
so,
have a
Dennis.
question.
There might be a possibility you could move that Office over to that new machine.
Well, I'm kind of thinking that the office is going to no longer work at some point because the priest who gave my wife this computer, he passed away like 5 or 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he obviously was paying some kind of a license for multiple computers.
Right.
So it could be that whoever inherited his stuff or got his stuff is just going to, kind of end everything that he was covering.
Yeah, and that's the key.
Yeah.
You may not know the login and the licensing.
Yeah, I don't.
Because somebody else is managing that.
Correct.
You've been able to,
Right.
and to keep this ethics correctly, that machine that you're using, the Samsung, came from the church. It was their property, so it was until they released it or did whatever.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
why
Actually,
the license is there.
Yeah, it was his personal property, actually.
Right.
But yeah.
Right. Tom?
Yeah. Well, I'm not too worried about it because I don't mind going. I want to make the switch to LibreOffice. And
Okay.
if I understand it correctly, even I should still be able to interchange, like send my spreadsheet Libre to someone who has Excel. They should be able to open it and vice versa, correct?
There are some caveats.
There are some caveats.
Okay.
But before we get there, Tom had a question. Tom?
Yeah, what I was going to make a suggestion would be, could he use the product only Office?
Only Office or LibreOffice, Open Office, WP something.
WPS Office, which
Yeah.
has the advantage of being truly cross-platform. You can even use it on a phone.
Yeah.
Is that the question you were asking, Tom?
I was just trying to make a suggestion. He's got a lot of problems with this, and OnlyOffice would be doing that kind of work. It's a freebie. So maybe he could transfer that type of data, I believe he could, into OnlyOffice, and it would be working for him. Maybe it won't work at the older grade that he's got. I don't know that. I use
Right.
it in the 2010, not 2010, but yeah, the 2010 level of processor of Windows. Of course, it's not Windows I'm using anymore for that, but instead of Windows Office, I use the Only Office.
Yeah.
I,
I
I
only
never even, I never even heard of OnlyOffice. That's new to
Yeah,
me.
there's umpteen competing products out there.
one advantage of OnlyOffice is it is said to have closer compatibility for formatting with Microsoft Office formats than the old Star Office. LibreOffice is getting a lot closer.
Okay.
And Microsoft has acknowledged this. They acknowledge open source. They are saying now we love Linux, but you know Microsoft's history of what they love, the embrace, extend, extinguish thing. So who knows what they're going to do? They'll never extinguish Linux, of course, itself, because that's something else. But for only Office, you have closer compatibility. Same with
Okay.
WPS
Yeah,
Office.
but even still, anybody who uses a Microsoft product, if they use more than the average 10% most people use of the features, those extra high-end features are not compatible with almost any other product.
Right.
Right.
Your
And
SOL.
I will attest to the fact that we have LibreOffice loaded on my wife's machine, and she grumbles a lot because the features she needs to use are not on there
That's right.
that are available in Microsoft Office. And
Many of those features are available or very close in OnlyOffice.
uh-huh.
Just a suggestion.
Okay, it's one I could explore is only Office. I have not done that, so I will explore that one and see
Yeah,
if she goes
How
with
long,
it.
I
how long
use
has
OnlyOffice a
OnlyOffice
lot.
been out? How long has OnlyOffice been out? I mean, a
Long,
year?
long time.
Long time?
Long. Yeah.
I'm surprised I never heard of it. Okay.
And for trying to get things to work between Windows and Linux, there's also crossover Office.
Hmm.
But I am not familiar with that one.
Okay.
Crossover Office avoids the use of wine.
Like I said, there's tons of competing products out there, and a lot of them try and at least have Word and Excel spreadsheets the greatest compatibility. PowerPoint has less, and the database that's in like LibreOffice, forget it.
Totally different. Totally different.
Yeah.
It's Java based and it's actually a very good database, very fast.
Yeah. The only other thing is you do have some times where you've got to change the format from the ODF format to a Microsoft format because some people may not be able to open it up. Hopefully, all the people that were on Office 2004 and prior have all said goodbye to that.
The Doc and DocX formats are pretty compatible as long as the formatting isn't too complex between the open document and Microsoft Office, because Microsoft Office has that format supported to some extent. But the Microsoft fonts are the main thing you need to import into LibreOffice in order to have it work. In Windows, that's not an issue, but in Linux, it is.
Say that again, Bob. You have to import your
The
fonts?
the official Microsoft font family, that is non-free. It's proprietary. So it doesn't occur naturally in most Linux. You have to import it. It's not difficult, but it has to be done.
What is, you said Microsoft Bond?
No,
B-O-N-D?
Microsoft Fonts, Fonts.
Oh, fonts.
Yes.
Yes, the fonts.
Yes,
All right.
because if you're on Linux, in fact, that's where it causes the most problem. You have to import Microsoft's fonts into the Linux system. Otherwise, like LibreOffice, will guess at the best font based upon what the Microsoft is using.
Right, right.
And if you
The
use
same,
multiple fonts in a document, that gets it even worse.
yeah, the same is true with Mac. Anything Mac or iOS. You will need the Microsoft fonts, and they don't come natively.
Right. Yes, that font business I understand. I dealt with that for 25 years. So, okay, we covered this subject pretty good. Dennis, I hope I don't know what you're going to wind up doing. Maybe use that machine for as long as you can and then downgrade it or side it, turn it into a Linux machine.
Yeah. Well, at the moment, that's something I can put off for a good while.
Right,
Yeah.
for a good while. But yeah, just leave it as it is. It is a low horsepower laptop, so
Right.
putting in even Windows 10 is going to require a lot more out of it than it may be capable of handling. I don't know.
I really don't think I have any interest in going to Windows 10 with it at
Yeah.
all. Yeah.
Other than
I'm
it
going to do
would be
Linux and probably nothing else. Yeah.
it would be a fun experiment to see can I download it and would it install and is it any good?
He has the Linux Mint version on a drive, the Cinnamon desktop. There's a possibility the horsepower of the machine may be so low that you have to change it to the XFCE desktop.
Okay.
This has it's a 64-bit and it has 4.4 gigabytes of RAM.
Oh, well, that's another part of the problem. You're going to
Yeah,
need to
yeah.
double that memory minimum. And I would say
Oh.
you need to go even higher than that. But you might seriously require a BIOS update.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
The reason for that is BIOS update allows for those machines that you can switch the processor in to a higher processor, or it may allow larger capacity SODIMM memory modules.
Mm-hmm.
So right now you might be limited, as an example, to 2 gigabyte memory modules. You might not be able to handle a 4 gigabyte memory module.
That all could be found out by looking up the specs on that machine and
That's
the
right.
processor, what can it handle, and whether or not that particular machine you can open up and get access to put memory modules
Be
in.
careful. When the manuals are written, they make very few, if any, changes. So it will show you what it was originally designed for. I guarantee it. And only going in to find out if there's a BIOS version higher than what you have, and looking at the notes, would you know if I can change the processor, if that's allowable. Newer machines won't, because they're soldered in.
This is a laptop.
Also memory module capacity.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a laptop, so I don't think the memory modules, the
CPU.
CPU is going to be soldered in. Most likely, it's not going to be a removable.
No,
Yeah.
memory modules are, especially in that old of a machine, would definitely be removable. And it's
Yes.
a good possibility the CPU can be changed too. Maybe he might be able to get in the same generation, say an i3 processor. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if it would handle a 5.
Well, one thing you can do is see whether there's an iFixit video about it on YouTube, because there's so many iFixits.
Yes, there are. And
And there are tutorials. There are tutorials that you don't have to watch a video for.
And we're trying to, Dennis, we're trying to squeeze some extra life out of this Samsung for you.
Yeah, but eventually you run into this problem that technicians call "don't let the smoke out." Eventually, it starts smoking.
It may cost you more to upgrade than it would to replace.
Okay.
Right.
It
It
may.
can.
It may. Sometimes you get a better result, sometimes not. If it's a business class laptop, it might be worth upgrading.
Right.
Consumer class are seldom worth it because they just don't last that long.
Right.
Mhm.
They usually don't, but being it's an 8.1 original system, it was never upgraded. This thing's an antique, and they did have them socketed, but you have to know what generation that Pentium processor is, because you've got to use the same generation for like an i3 processor.
Yeah, it's like the same class of processors you can use. But on a desktop, Dennis, I did do that similar upgrade path. I was able to upgrade from a Pentium to actually a Core i7 on the same motherboard. It was an old box too, and it still runs just fine with the Core i7 on there. So it can be done, but I don't know if it can be done in your Samsung. But it would be fun. This would just be, we're having fun talking about what you could do.
Yeah.
Sanford, yours keyword is a desktop.
Yeah, right.
That-
Mine was a desktop, and that's why I specifically said that. A laptop is a totally different animal here.
Yeah.
I have done it.
Desktops are-
I've done it to one laptop, but I don't recommend even what I did. I did it as really a learning tool.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what the way I'd put this too is for a dentist, it'd be just a learning experience. Can you do this? You know, and what are the ramifications? And
In other words, do it after you've bought your next PC.
well, this one's an old defunct machine that he's going to use it till he can't use it anymore, and then it's going to be, what am I going to do next with it?
That's what I did with my old NUC.
Right.
Until finally the power supply, apparently the gate wasn't working any longer
Sure.
because it didn't turn on and off properly. So I was able to salvage some RAM out of it and some other stuff. But my new NUC came with its own RAM.
All right. So we go on to a new topic. Anyone else got problems or questions for the group?
Well, I have a question about on the list you had at the very bottom. You were talking about DuckDuckGo. Are we going to talk about this later?
Oh, let's go. What do we got?
DuckDuckGo browser.
DuckDuckGo.
It was the very bottom of the list.
It says how to get the most out of Copilot.
The last item on the list, and it's repeated.
Oh, I don't see what I do.
No, there's.
Okay, let me go to the
I did have a couple duplicates. I
Maybe
found
I'm
out
looking
after
wrong.
the fact.
Oh, this the last one is not the one we're looking for.
No,
We are looking for the DuckDuckGo browser.
We've been looking at the wrong list. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Maybe you were looking at the more.
you're looking
more
at the FYI. That's
Yeah.
the
Oh.
FYI did have it last.
Oh, we could
Yeah.
talk about DuckDuckGo. I got to pull that one up.
DuckDuckGo web browser.
Yeah, I've got it. I'm using it on the two machines tonight. But I don't like all of its features at the moment. I'm hoping they're going to add some features. I need at least my password manager to be available. Otherwise, you got a problem.
What browser engine is it based on?
I think that's on Chromium. I'm not positive, but I believe it is. But I've tried doing add-ons before, and it wouldn't allow it.
Okay, it won't allow add-ons yet.
They disabled that feature.
So this is supposed to be what? A privacy-oriented browser?
Yes, DuckDuckGo is privacy oriented. They used to have no Google ads. Now they allow a small number of ads in the browser when you're doing a search.
If I
So
recall,
most of you guys are not using DuckDuckGo then, correct?
I
Is
use
anybody here?
DuckDuckGo search engine. That's separate and works in any browser. And this is a DuckDuckGo physical browser. It's its own product.
so here's the link to the download, and it tells you what it can and cannot do and what it blocks. I think it doesn't even have a back button because it doesn't keep your browser history information. So when you close the application, your history is wiped out, as far as I remember.
When you close it. But as long
Right.
as it's open, you still have a history.
I
So it may not have a history button, but it would have a back button.
I'm pausing here because I'm not
Actually,
positive.
no. It
No?
has a bit of a history. I
Oh.
put in for my Yahoo Mail in one of the two browsers I got open, and it remembered my browser and login. Brought me right in.
Okay. So some items like logins are remember.
So it removes trackers, so you don't get when you're searching, you're not being tracked where you're searching. Removes intercepts and email trackers. It's free.
I got to be updating my browser and see if they've given me any new features.
I do occasionally use DuckDuckGo, not on this laptop. I use it on my tablet, and I found it valuable on some things because then it doesn't show up when if I'm searching, let's say Amazon, it won't show up on another website, the product that I was looking at, which
Yeah.
often happens because there's no tracking information.
Yeah, I bought one thing from Temu and I continually get ads from them. But what I bought from Temu was pretty good and it was a good deal. It was not one of their cheap items.
Does anyone else here use DuckDuckGo?
I've used the search engine.
Okay.
I use both, and I have for as long as the browser's been around.
And Dennis, what's your preferred browser?
Right now, I just use pretty much Google.
Okay.
Chrome.
Tom, what about you?
There is no such thing as Google. There is Chrome, but there is
Chrome.
not Google.
It's
Chrome.
Google Chrome.
So
The
Chrome
free
is
and
your
open source.
browser. Tom O'Connor, what's your preferred browser?
Well, I've been using what I also call Chrome, but I've been switching over because I'm using both laptop and desktop, and I've been switching over to the DuckDuckGo because of the lack of its the privacy of it.
Okay. And have you found it? You've been using this for a while now, DuckDuckGo, or you just started using it?
I've been using it on one machine, the desktop, for a while. That's the one I use it the most on. I don't usually use the laptop unless I'm talking to you guys mostly.
And you absolutely believe that no tracking information is being logged on when you're using DuckDuckGo?
I believe that's what I'll say. I'll agree with that. Yes, I don't get tracked too much at all that I can see. I have in the past with the other system.
Could you guys clarify? You said there were two different things, and Bob said it, and Tim said it. There, DuckDuckGo. There's a search engine, but then there's something else. I think I missed what the difference is. What we're talking about.
This is a complete web browser based upon the principles of the DuckDuckGo privacy that it doesn't track. It's based on the Chromium engine, and So it's like a Chromium browser that has got all these Google things removed, and it is a very pure form of the open source Chromium.
So to clarify, if I understand, Bob, you're using the DuckDuckGo browser, and within the browser, you're using its search engine. Is that
It
correct?
has that search engine, and they have developed their own feature set.
Right.
And it's still under development. They don't have the add-ons yet. They don't have some of the other things.
So if
And,
I understand the
and a search
difference,
engine, just a minute, a search engine. Take any browser you can think of other than DuckDuckGo browser. They all use a search engine. You can change the default search engine to DuckDuckGo's search engine.
okay.
Ah, okay. So to do that, what do you just need to go to that
You've
website?
got to go into
DuckDuckGo?
settings. You go to the search category. You'll see probably Google there. You click the down arrow and select DuckDuckGo, and that is your new default.
Yeah, and you may have to collect up the site URL. You may have it available.
So what you're saying is, if I had Google Chrome open,
Right.
and let's say I'm on Amazon, I'm looking at Amazon under Google Chrome, and I'm looking at a YouTube video Google Chrome, but I can pick out the search. You only use while that's open. One of the tabs
Now, it
can
has
be
nothing to do with being open or not. Period.
No.
okay, but one of the
When
tabs
you
can be
have the browser, when
Hold
you
on,
have
Tim.
the browser running, you go up in the top right corner area, click on the three vertical dots. It drops down a menu. Near the bottom is settings. You go to settings, it opens up a screen. On the left side, you'll look for search features and click on that search, and then it'll open up a screen on the right side, and it'll probably be set to Google Chrome.
Yeah, I see it right now. Yeah.
And you click the little arrow that's to the right side, and it'll drop down a list, and DuckDuckGo is one of them. If you click on DuckDuckGo, it permanently changes it to DuckDuckGo for anything you're doing in a search.
That means it will be your default search engine from then on.
Right, and
But it still won't affect
when you're on
Amazon.
when you're on Amazon or YouTube, they have their own built-in search engine for their product
Okay.
on their site.
Okay.
The site search engines are usually based on Google. But that's only within the site. If
Right.
you're on Amazon and you search Amazon, that's a Google search, but it's internal. It's on their servers. It's actually on Amazon Web Services. So it's not
restricted.
Google's services. Although it probably does report back to Google from the Amazon site if you use their search engine.
Well, Google owns YouTube, so I know they know what you're doing on YouTube when you're doing a search.
Yeah, they do. YouTube search is also Google. I'm not sure that Amazon search within their site is Google. It might be their own.
Well, they may have originally had Google, but they may have changed it. Who knows?
Yeah, I think it's associated with Amazon Web Services. But in any event, you're going to see the ads for anything that you searched for.
Right. Tom Soltis, I didn't get to ask you, what browser do you use?
Mainly Edge, but sometimes Chrome.
Okay. I like to use Firefox myself.
There you have it.
I've been a Firefox fan for a long time, so
And what's so nice about Firefox, Sanford?
I don't know. I just didn't. I guess I got used to it.
In
The plugins I've used, it's been very compatible. It's not a Microsoft product.
Yeah, but Firefox also defaults to Google, and you
Yes,
can
it does.
change
And
that to DuckDuckGo too.
Right.
Yeah.
I can.
Firefox with DuckDuckGo has been recommended by many Linux users. And they tend to be a privacy-oriented group.
Which one, Bob? Firefox?
Firefox with the DuckDuckGo browser as the default, search engine as the default. Firefox browser, DuckDuckGo search engine. Another favorite, excuse me, another favorite among Linux users is either Brave or some of these other privacy tailored Chromium derivatives. Personally, if I'm in Linux, I just use ordinary Chromium. But right now, I'm using Google Chrome.
And on Linux, you can not only use Google Chrome, you can also use Edge.
You can if you want, if you like Microsoft.
I know.
It's funny, on this version 8.1, I do the drop down for the choices, and it shows me Google, Bing, Yahoo, DuckDuckGo,
There you
and
go.
Ecosia, Ecosia. I never heard of it. Ecosia, but
I
that's
don't know about it.
That
I don't
one
know
I
about
know
that.
either, but the rest of them I know because Bing is owned by Microsoft to start with. You have Yahoo, which I use Yahoo Mail. I don't use the search engine. And I used DuckDuckGo since that came out several years back.
Yeah, I don't find Yahoo search to be very good these days.
Let's move on to a new topic. I sent out a bunch of topics that we could talk. Would someone like to pick something out of the topics there?
Well, there was on the paper we have, Sanford, the first one on your list is something that somebody said they had a dead sound system.
Yeah. They said that the person said that their audio was not working on their PC, and they needed help in trying to debug that audio problem, audio not working. So can we as a group explore what to be done to fix somebody's audio problem if they're not getting sound out of their speakers?
I first identify which devices you have. That's under your sound speaker icon, the gear.
Okay.
And you're probably going to go with sound, and it will list output and input devices. See if you've got the right device selected.
Tom, you have your hand up?
Yeah, before I
No,
did
I got an
that
itch.
far into the applications, since I had the same problem myself, it was a foolishness, stupidity on my part.
Okay.
On the back of my tower, I have 3 plug-in ports, and I plugged in to the microphone, not the speaker.
Yeah, physical connections should be checked.
And
First,
Tom, you're not the only one. I've done that, many a times in the past when I was setting up a machine, and I'll plug it in and I'm going, how come this isn't working? Or they do a poor job at labeling what those ports were, and they're just by colors. And they don't tell you any place until you open up a manual and it'll say pink is speakers or green is speakers.
No.
Green is speakers, pink is your microphone, and blue is auxiliary, and some have 5 or more of those plugs.
Yeah. Because they'll be
now
for surround
in sound problem, you have to check, have I got my speakers muted? Do I have the volume too low for me to hear? That's real stuff. You also could possibly have a problem you're not aware of with the device driver. You have to know how to go into the device manager and see if you got any yellows or reds on device manager and address those.
Yeah, I don't know if device manager, can I share this screen? Let's see.
Because usually the sound systems are more reliable on the motherboard than the onboard motherboard video, which usually has a chance of dying.
Okay, so the device manager, if you go down to the start bar and you just type in under the type here to search, you type in device manager, this is what will come up. And if you look in this list here of items, everything is collapsed, which is a very good indication. If there was something that was expanded, it would have an exclamation point, probably in yellow, means there's a problem with it. This would be the first place that I would look to, one of the places I would look, not the first place, but one of the places I would look to explore to see, do I have a problem with any device that's in my system that's not working the way it should be? Then you could go to, what do we want? Audio inputs and outputs.
And also sound, audio, and game controllers. You've got one of those down
Right.
below.
So as you see, I just clicked on the carrots and expanded those categories.
What you've got down there is the Intel SST. That driver has had some issues recently.
Okay. Mind you, I've been getting the updates from Microsoft, from Intel
Right.
all the time now on this. So currently, this is not creating a problem for me because we're on this machine. So
I know your SST driver is therefore up to date,
yes,
which is the important thing.
right.
You also have Realtek, which is typical of Intel. Do you use the driver and support assistant from Intel?
Yes. Yes.
Mine's sort of a hybrid. I also have to get stuff from Asus.
Okay, but that's being sideways. I'm kind of
Okay.
Yeah, let's concentrate on
Speakers.
Here. We got speakers. You know, if there was a problem, there would be an exclamation point. If there's nothing listed here, definitely a problem.
Or a red X.
Yes, or an X.
That means it doesn't work at all.
If an option for a person on any of the devices in here is you can always delete an item and have the system do a rescan, and it'll reload in the appropriate drivers. It'll go out and obtain the new drivers for that, or the best drivers for that item. So you could safely click on speakers and hit the X key to uninstall the device. After you've uninstalled it, then you go up to actions and you would have it update drivers. Or scan for hardware changes. Scan for hardware changes, and it will automatically scan and look for these changes. So what do we got here?
Occasionally, though, it between the delete and getting it to work again may require a restart.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then you don't have to scan for hardware changes. It will, as you're booting up, it will figure it out.
Okay. Am I missing anything else here in Device Manager?
Eventually you may need to click through to find out if the driver is working. And you may need to look for drivers, including doing an online search, which will search Microsoft Update for new drivers.
Right. So you could scan for hardware changes, right?
Yeah, and then on any one item, you can click on its properties and look at the driver.
Okay. So we could go look at here, look at speakers.
Yeah.
Right click, properties.
Or you could update the driver, either way.
You can go to the drivers, you can click update driver, details and events, and this will tell you.
Yeah, we won't see that because that's a pop-up. That's a drop-down pop-up.
Okay, right.
Sanford, how would you know when you see the speaker there? I mean, you said you could delete it and then redo it, but how do you know if you're not deleting the built-in speaker versus external speaker?
You may have multiple devices listed. He has both sound devices as well as audio devices. Audio tends to be the internal. Sound devices tend to be kind of like add-ons or subsystems.
So you bring up an interesting point, Dennis, and I'm not sure what situation you would have. I guess on a laptop, you could have internal speakers and external speakers. On a
Right.
desktop, you wouldn't have internal speakers. The only one that might be in a desktop would be the little one on the motherboard, and you have no control over that one. If there is such a thing, so it gives you beeps or something. But it would probably be on a laptop, and I would not worry about an external one. You could delete it because when you go and plug in the external, it'll recognize and it'll load in the appropriate drivers for that. Or it might just be standard speaker drivers that it uses for it. I couldn't tell you about on that perspective, but it would be safe. I would take note to what the name of the driver is that it shows, that it has an exclamation point or something next to it. So you make sure when it reloads in that it should reload in the same name for that driver. But other than that, this is real easy.
And eventually you might want to learn how to update drivers, not just through Microsoft, but by going to your manufacturer.
Okay, so what else do we need to, okay, so this person has done this and they checked the plugs in the back and they checked where the ports that it comes from, or in a laptop, it's built in and it's not working. Let's say it's on the person that gave us this question didn't provide us with enough information, but so we're going to troubleshoot it from different angles. On a laptop, what's another way that you can enable or disable the speakers?
You can mute them by clicking on the sys tray image of a speaker with sound, or it shows no sound waves, and the little pop-up that comes up on the right side is max volume. On the left side is if you click that speaker, it mutes the speaker, so it's no longer going to output sound.
Another thing which I was kind of more looking for is often on laptops, there's a physical button or a function key that controls the speakers.
On laptops, yes.
And some laptops actually have one button that you can mute the speaker with on some of them. I have one that does that. This particular Lenovo it does have a mute, and it's under the function keys, and you function and hit the key and it'll mute it, or it'll turn the volume up or turn the volume down. So that's an easy place to check that on. I don't know, on a desktop, you might have to go the route that Tim was talking.
Well, like I said, you go down to the sys tray where it's showing the speaker and click it, and it usually brings up a pop-up box with quick settings. And at the bottom of the quick settings are your ability to adjust the sound volume. But if you click that left icon, it mutes it. So you have to click the right icon to turn it back on.
Yeah, and then there's my favorite little trick with my microphone on my headset. It has its own button to mute.
See?
Right. That's true too. That's true too.
There is multiple ways. And so I think we've covered several ways in which a person could track down how to fix the problem if they don't get audio out of their computer.
And if it's truly broken, two possibilities, if it's not a laptop, is you can take and get a plug-in card, like a Sound Blaster as an example, that would take the place of the built-in motherboard sound system. The other possibility that can come up is in a Zoom meeting, you can use your smartphone calling one of the local numbers in the your area, and give it the ID of the meeting and password, and it'll connect in the audio.
Yeah, that way you can get help in a Zoom meeting.
Right. Well, you can use it two-way because your phone will act like a walkie-talkie in a sense.
Yeah, it's acting as your microphone and your speaker.
We don't publish them, but we used to publish them some. It's and some groups do publish all the numbers and some don't. But basically, you have to go to Zoom site and find out what the local numbers where you live, so that you can dial that number and then link in to that Zoom meeting's audio. Because you,
Does Zoom
for
charge
example,
this or-
we're in the Chicagoland area. Bob Baxter and Bob Premick are out of state. They're not going to call in to a local like 708 or 773 number just to listen to the audio of the meeting.
I could, but in my area, I already have some Zoom meetings I attend, so I know what the numbers are.
Right.
But I haven't ever done it by smartphone, so I don't know how.
I've never had to do it myself. But it's one of those things. One other thing. Assuming that person has Windows 10, you can go into Windows Update section, and down below is troubleshooters, and one of them is for the sound system. It'll try and play a tune. Did you hear it? If you have a microphone hooked up, they want you to speak into it, and then they'll play it back. Did you hear that?
Yeah, and that troubleshooter eventually may ask you to go out to Microsoft Update, see if there's another newer driver.
Did we discuss if the person is having problems in Zoom only?
We don't know.
Zoom.
They
Okay,
didn't give
but
that
I'd say, did
information.
we discuss this? So
In
let's-
Zoom only, there's a fair number of things you do.
right.
We have a microphone which has an up caret, and you can go into, well, when you see the up caret, you can see which sound devices are selected for Zoom. And I frequently have to change them. Right now I'm using one of them, same as system, but the other one I have to designate as mic at the rear panel. I currently don't have anything plugged in at the front, but if I did, I would have to make that selection perhaps.
So as you mentioned, luckily I cannot share the screen that shows Zoom itself. But if you choose the up caret next to the microphone, in there gives you your option of what speakers to choose from. So you could select the speaker, being in my case, it's my Realtech speakers. If there was another set of speakers, you could attach them to here, and it gives you that option. But below there, it also gives you the option to test your speakers and microphone.
And there's a new option. There's a new
Sorry?
option, switch to phone audio.
Yes, switch to phone audio. So
Or just leave the computer audio completely.
Right. So we don't know what this person's problem is, but we've gone through, there are several solutions. I hope this person finds this tips and tricks and is able to get some valuable things from this. So
One last thing.
yes, sir.
Under audio settings, you can test your speaker and you can test your microphone, but don't do it during a meeting because it's a little disruptive.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, maybe you guys have already said this and I didn't catch it, but like if I go to my 8.1 and look at the options, it says open up Realtech, and there's like multiple tabs on there that say general, levels, enhancements, sound alive, advanced. I mean,
Oh yeah.
could there be something in any of those settings that is
I
killing you?
That's your Realtech driver doing that. And it has a whole control center, which is really super advanced, and you don't really need to do anything with that.
Most people.
But I mean, if they change something in there, could they have shut everything down if they changed something in there?
Who knows?
It's unpredictable what'll happen. It's unpredictable.
And if you got corruption on the system, That can cause all myriad of problems on a system.
Yeah, you might want to check and see if your system files are good.
Well, not only the system files, you may have to do a system file, system repair, and use a Chkdsk. And if it's a spinning hard drive, besides a /F, you got to put a /R command to check for bad spots.
Yeah, but in any event with the system repair, if you have to do a system repair, you can keep your files and reinstall Windows. At least up through Windows 10. I think 11 will do it too. That's called an over-the-top repair.
It will keep them if you do an in place, which means on a running system. If you do it externally, it really varies. Sometimes it will let you keep them, and sometimes it doesn't. It does a clean install.
Back up everything before you do any of that. But these are also ways of fixing a really stubborn problem.
Right. Okay, shall we go on to a new subject? Please do. Let's see. We have on our list, I had what to do with tricks to organizing an email. Anyone want to, should we discuss that one?
Go for it.
Well, I don't have any tricks for organizing email. I was hoping somebody better than me, like maybe Bob Baxter. Bob, are you better at organizing email, and you want to walk us through on how you can do it with whatever you're using?
I would love to help out. Unfortunately, I have a meeting that I have to get set up for in 30 minutes.
Oh,
some silly thing called Linux.
Oh, that's Linux stuff. Okay, well, at least you're here. I was
sorry I was late.
No, that's okay.
Stuck in traffic. Yeah,
you're here. It's all we care.
It was an interesting review of things. Take care.
As far as tricks you need to learn for your email client, email filters, how to set them up, and then set up subfolders to automatically direct emails coming into the inbox via the filters to each of those subfolders. So if you got one subfolder you created for CCS, you say, hey, is this a message from CCS? Put it in the CCS folder.
Yeah, there are different ways of doing it depending on which email services you're using.
Yes.
Yahoo uses straightforward folders, whereas Google uses what they call conversations. And their folders are different. So I use both Gmail and Yahoo Mail as webmail. And I also have an email client that has a lot of different folders and subfolders.
Okay.
Google wants you to use a divided inbox where you have categories within your inbox. I don't like that, but for people who have a lot of different kinds of email they get, it might be very good. Yahoo uses a unified inbox by default, and it doesn't have subfolders. But there are folders you can create, and you can create a whole folder tree, and that way you can organize from the inbox. I'm going to take CCS and put it in the CCS folder. From the inbox, I'm going to take my medical stuff and put it in a medical folder. Or I'm going to download the medical stuff and delete it from the web because I don't want it hanging around. There's various kinds of things you can do. If you have a local client, learn how to make backups of the email storage.
How do you choose to prioritize so that you get critical messages show up first?
There are rules you can create.
There's a lot of them that don't give you prioritization.
You can mark messages important, starred, less important, and in some interfaces, you can assign colors to them.
Bob, what email client are you using?
I do Linux, so I'm using a very old type of client called Clausemail. It's based on the Unix.
All your email is going through your Linux machine.
That's the only place I collect it locally.
Okay. And Tom Soltis, how are you collecting your emails? What are you using?
I use the Comcast, thing, and I've got a whole bunch of like subfolders and different things. When I had the hard copy,
Uh-huh.
my ship's website, so whole bunch of different folders and many subfolders. And I went to them. I used to use the Microsoft Outlook.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got screwed a couple times on updates, and it just blew my email to hell. And then another time when I changed my computer, I had the same problem. I couldn't get the damn thing to work. So I just said no to hell with it, and I stuck with Comcast because it's always there, no matter what I'm using.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Are you saying that you had trouble with Outlook?
Yeah.
A lot of people do. Outlook is one of the most difficult ones to back up. In fact, the modern Outlook, I'm not sure how you would do it without a Microsoft account. That's what they want you to do, put it in your Microsoft account. But then it's still in the cloud. It's still up there.
Well,
It's,
this
for me,
was
a privacy thing, Tom.
this was 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's before they got really involved in all this crap, with the clients and everything. But no,
Yeah.
Outlook Express at the time was very simple to use. I mean,
Yeah.
it really worked fine for a while, and then so I just said the hell with it. And I don't have to worry about a
Tom?
separate system.
If you think that's a problem, Outlook.com, which is the online version of Outlook, so to speak, according to Microsoft's Copilot AI program, it's terrible.
And if Microsoft AI says it,
It's got to be true. You read it on the web. You heard it on the web.
yeah, what I do is I back up my closed mail, but it's the Unix standard mailbox. Now that means I don't have all the HTML. I don't have everything in the graphics. So if it's an image email, it won't be downloaded that way. Those I save as PDF files to my documents, and I have special folders for those. If it's something I know is going to be needed and it is an image, it gets downloaded as PDF. You
Okay.
either go print from the web interface or you go print from the browser. Save as PDF.
Harry, what email client are you using, and how are you handling your sorting? Harry?
You're muted, Harry.
He took a nap.
Okay. Tom O'Connor, what about you?
Well, I use Gmail, and I let just come on the inbox, and I go through it personally and put it in, almost what looks like a family tree kind of deal. I decide personally where to put it or throw it away myself right away.
Okay. All right. Harry, you came back. I see you're there.
Yeah, that was,
That's okay.
I have sort of a cluster tuck with Microsoft with their Outlook.com and their Outlook program, which is still part of the old Office system. They
Okay.
trying to sort out which one is which and to get stuff to come through is really a challenge at times. But I tend to scan through the whole thing. I don't sort a lot of stuff into folders. I do it manually if I do it. I don't automate any of that because I found it wasn't very accurate in most times. But I also do my email on the iPad, and then so I'm in a day's time I'm probably looking at one or the other at different times a day. It's kind of interesting that mail comes through on iPad pretty consistently, much more so than it does on Outlook, and then in particular, the one machine that I have Windows 11 on and put a newer version, I think it was 2019 version of Office on there, and then use the Outlook that's on there. I'm still fighting with that for sorting and getting the settings to try to match up with the old Outlook that I still use on another machine. So the whole thing is kind of a conundrum.
Wait until you get the new version of Outlook.com.
No, I pretty much tried to lock out any possibility of stuff going into it as much as I could so far.
Oh, in fact, I just remembered what the final straw was. No, on that Outlook, I had an update, and it totally blew out my client list. I had nobody in there. I said, "You got to be kidding me!" That was fun.
Took all your contacts out.
Yep.
Oh, nice. Okay, so we go on to a new subject. Back to our list that I sent out. Can someone choose a subject they'd like us to cover tonight? Or something else?
Well, I don't know how many people on the call here use an iPhone,
Okay.
but I don't want to bring it up if nobody else uses an iPhone.
You're not alone. You're not alone.
One that says how to create PDFs on the iPhone using Notes. And I'm not quite.
iPhone using Notes. Okay.
It's like six lines down or so from the top.
You didn't, on the email, you didn't have the URL.
I got it. I got this going. And share. No, not you. You. Share you. Okay. How to create PDFs on an iPhone. This is an interesting way. You don't need a separate app to do it, huh? You can use files or notes. I didn't know we had a note taker on our phone.
Oh, yeah, I'd use that.
Yeah, I know on my wife's iPhone, when she puts in contact information, if she scrolls down the page, besides putting in email addresses and stuff, there is a line that says notes, and I guess it must be referring to that.
No, it's got to be something different than that. You would think, because that doesn't give you a lot of room to write with, does that?
I don't know. I don't think she ever uses that tab, but or that box.
Open Files app, tap on the three dots in the upper right-hand corner. You got to do this on your phone. Center your phone over the document. What?
Oh, I see. You do have a link, but it's two lines. You have two separate lines for PDF and then a link. Okay, I see.
On the center of your phone. Wait, open the Files app on your phone. Open the Files app. Where's the Files app on my iPhone?
Files.
What's the Files app? There's a Files app?
I think you're basically taking a picture of it and it's going to convert it to a PDF for you.
Okay, there's the Files app.
Where was the Files app? In photo?
I went to the search bar and I just typed Files. And it came up. Now I'm doing this on the phone itself, so I don't think you can see anything. Nope, you can't see this. Unluckily, I don't know how to drive this. I should turn off my backgrounds. That might help. Video.
Hold your phone up to your camera.
Hold on, blur my. Bear with me a second. I got to choose my virtual background and change that to none.
You have a lamp directly behind you, which is going to cause an issue.
Yes. Okay, I did that. Oh, wait.
Yeah, as long as you hold the phone in front of the lamp, you'll be all right.
I just realized your lamp base is a pattern, and every once in a while I saw that pattern appear in the thing, and I didn't know what the heck that was.
It pokes through the background because it's shiny.
Yeah, it's kind of like a leaf that's variated or something.
That really threw me.
It's
Too bright.
still too bright. Oh, wait, it's on cloud. Now why? There it is. Try this again. Oh, there's the
Okay,
file
here we
map.
go.
Okay. So it has recent. Now what it's saying is you see in the upper right-hand corner, you got, well, it's got the 3 dots in there.
Yeah.
And so this is my files app. This is what shows up. Let's see what happens. And I click on the 3 dots and it says, what does it say now? Center your phone over the document. Files app, 3 dots in the upper right-hand corner. I did the 3 dots. Oh, it says scan document is the number 2 item. So scan document. I know this is this going backwards?
No, it looks good.
It's fine.
It
You're
reads,
mirrored.
okay, on my end it says it's everything's read backwards. So
No, it's fine from my end.
so it says scan documents. So now choose scan documents, and I get a my thing changed to a camera, and it says hold it over the document, and I can take a picture.
And then it'll say save as, and you can say PDF.
Okay, I did a okay.
Or maybe
Keep
it's
the
just save.
scan. Okay, so it allows me to edit it,
Mhm.
and it allows me to save. And how does it tell you to change what type of document? Your iCloud.
It may be the default.
Yeah, scan document. Okay, so it doesn't, it just does it give me an option of what kind? View options. Nope, doesn't say type of document. It just says, it just allowed me to save it as a document. That was all I saw. So I took this picture.
That document, I think, will be PDF format.
Right. I guess the point is, and I'm sorry if I'm struggling with this
No,
because
that's all
I've
right.
never used this to do this before. And you know, Dennis, I think this was a great one. I have an iPhone and I don't even know how to use it.
If you don't like it, you can always retake.
That's right. And so I didn't see this where it says you can let's scan the document, indicate via an orange overlay, scan it, drop the.
And then you have to tap done and then
Choose save in the lower right-hand corner. Otherwise, it'll be a thumbnail. Okay. And that's it. I think it like you said.
Well, it gives you a retake option if you need it.
Right.
Yeah.
It automatically lets me make this as a PDF.
So now there's the method using notes.
Wow. Dennis, I learned something new tonight. You taught me something. Okay. If you have an existing file,
And you skipped this little section that talked about the other topic, using notes. You went a little farther down, but there was another one in between there.
oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Here.
The notes
Okay.
app.
Create a PDF document,
Print
paper
doc.
document using notes.
Notes.
Go to your notes app. Now there is a notes app in your thing.
Yep.
So let's go to search notes.
And Dennis, we don't go in chronological order. People select what topic to review.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have notes and create a new document by selecting load. Attach the icon paperclip from the pop-up menu and tap scan document. Paperclip. There's a paperclip on here. Create a new document. Right. Attach the icon paperclip to the pop-up menu.
Attach looks like a piece of paper with a paperclip.
Yeah, and I don't see.
It's the top item.
In the menu.
Yeah, but I'm looking for that one in my menu. Where is that? I have notes. I'm looking on my screen. Do I see this? Where do I see attach?
Attached file.
Yeah, honestly, there is no attached file on mine.
Well, do you have a scan?
Maybe I need to make a new document.
Oh,
Ooh,
if you don't have a document already, you may not be able to attach.
yeah, I did, and it just wiped out the document I had written down.
Oh.
Okay, it's okay. I didn't need it. I didn't need it anymore. So, let's see. We got a new document here. I'll write a new document, and blah blah blah. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, plus. And I'm looking, and I still do not see in mine. Hold on, trying to get this to work right. If you look at the bottom here, I'm showing you.
Yeah.
There's no paperclip.
Wait a minute. What's on the far right? That's an edit. Okay. You're right. It
Yeah.
may have changed.
Yeah, it may have changed. I don't see this as an option. At the very top of the screen, the best I have is back, undo, redo, send to, and then hamburger menu, which gives me find note, move note, lines and grids, and attach.
There's
Attachment. Oh,
attach.
there's an attachment. There
They
is an
just moved it.
attachment.
They
Okay,
just moved
attachment.
it. Mm-hmm.
Attachment view.
Mm-hmm.
From the top up on scanned attachment small, then what? Well, what? All right, I hit that.
It should be scanned documents. And from there, it's the same as though you started from the files. You take a picture of it.
Set all to small. Oh, I see. All right. Oh, I guess that would be it. I mean, I don't see any changes on my screen here. Dennis, I'm not positive I'm doing this right. So,
Okay.
Well, have you clicked the save button?
yeah. Okay. So here's this one. I can delete that thing.
You notice the picture, you click the save button, and then you should have a note saved.
Yeah. Oh, didn't delete my other one.
Can you go back to files and see if you have a list of PDFs to review?
Oh, yeah. Let me go to files again. Go to files, files. And I'm looking to see, no, I don't see anything with, even with today's date on there.
What if you just search PDFs?
All right. Is this a scanned? Yes. Okay, so for one thing, the one that I took with my, in the previous discussion, where I used files and took a picture of something, it did save it as a PDF.
Good.
So I know that's coming because I did get the extension listed here.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good thing. I don't know about this last part.
It'd be an attachment, and it probably is PDF.
Yeah, you're right. It probably is PDF as an attachment. And how do I get rid of this now? Done.
So if you pull up the document, it'll have an attachment on it.
Are you going to open the PDF?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was still looking at this on my screen here. Am I going to the next section, or are we still back on first?
You can create a PDF from a file,
Right.
and you can do markup.
And so they walk you through this. This is all very good. This is current too, updated July 8th. So
It's interesting that third bullet point says if you tap on markup, you can draw on the PDF. It's
Yes.
like if you already have a PDF, then you can go in and edit on it.
right.
It's not really editing, but you can make annotations on top of it.
Yeah, like if you need to circle something or put an arrow to pointing to something so someone takes note to what's in that PDF.
Circle where they're going to have to sign, something like that.
I often am getting stuff from my wife where she'll do that, usually in pictures, but sometimes in PDFs. Now I know how she's doing it.
Maybe you know something now, Sanford, that your wife doesn't know.
Nope.
Oh,
You
no,
found
that's the
out
other
her
way around.
secret.
She
You
knows
found out
more
her
of this
secret.
stuff. Yeah.
Now, if you start using the secret, she'll be mad at you.
Right. So we got PDFs on an iPhone.
Well, when
Well,
you're done, you can turn
if
on.
you're like me, if you're like me, Sanford, I get my wife's hand-me-down iPhone. She gets the newer iPhone. I get the old iPhone.
Yeah, that's usually the case. You get the hand-me-downs.
Okay, and if you're done with that, you can turn on your lamp if you need it.
That's right. Okay. So we covered one really good subject. That was a good one. Shall we pick out another one?
Well, let's see.
Can you do a share of the list? Because I was looking at the wrong list myself.
Ooh, that's really bright back there.
Well, there is something about we were talking about startup while we were talking about repairs, and there's 5 ways to open the startup repair tool in Windows if you have to do startup repair.
Yeah, but
Give
trust
me a
me,
moment.
they have some limitations, and you got to know how to use some of the other stuff that's techy, geeky. I just had to help somebody through that this afternoon.
What is the second from the bottom one? How to create a desktop shortcut on Windows. In other words, on your desktop, you click on something you created and it automatically launches to a particular web page. Is that what it's saying?
It can be a web page. It can be an internal tool that's usually found in System 32. It can be used to manually create a shortcut to any program you've installed or comes pre-installed with Windows.
Okay. But then it says the link that that we show on there says /gear.com. Does that mean you're buying a piece of software in order to do
No, that's
this
the
then?
publisher of the article.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay.
I create some of my own for commonly used tools in System 32, such as when I'm on a standard user account on Windows 10 or 11, you cannot modify anything in Device Manager. You can't see anything in Disk Management, and there's also a cleanup tool. I have a shortcut for each one of the 3.
Well, for example, earlier in this call, we were talking about how to switch your search engine to DuckDuckGo and that. So could you create a desktop shortcut that you just click on it and it'll take you right there to switch to DuckDuckGo? Then you don't have to go through settings and all that other
No,
stuff.
forget that one.
In a web browser, you would want to be working within the browser. And you can put something, there are ways of putting shortcuts like that to choose your search engine. You can put that up on the toolbar.
Oh, okay.
Well, what is the difference here in what this is being discussed in this article from taking a shortcut or taking like Microsoft Edge or Chrome or DuckDuckGo? When you install those, it's going to create a shortcut to that program on your desktop.
If you want it to, or some people remove them because they don't like their desktop cluttered. They put them down on the taskbar, or they go to the startup menu to launch the program.
Okay, so that let's say that they put them in their startup bar and they don't have them on their desktop. But then I'm guessing in this article here, they're saying if you didn't do that, but you want to create a shortcut on your desktop, this is the procedure to do it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like I said, for example, you have device manager, and you have disk manager, and you have a cleanup tool in your Systems 32 folders going back to Windows 3. And So if you're in the administrator's account, you can execute those by just finding them and executing them from the right click of the start button. Also, you can use the Windows key plus the X key to bring up the shortcut menu. And you can go to Device Manager, Disk Manager, and but you can't necessarily do the cleanup tool. If you want those in a standard account without having to get out of the standard account, go into the administrator's account, do those things, and then log out of there and go back into the standard account. You create a shortcut with a mandatory administrator run, and you can launch a device manager from a shortcut on the desktop. I have those. And also one for your disk management, in case you need to look at what your partitioning is, or maybe one of your drives you stuck in doesn't show up in File Manager, File Explorer, excuse me. Then you have to assign a letter to that drive by going into the disk management.
Tim, you're going way overboard on this. Let's go back to what we're talking about here under subject.
That's
I love
what
this
it
thing.
is.
I know. So one of the things they're talking about here is the easy thing is you could just go to your start bar, pull up, hit start, pull up all your applications, and then drag an app from your start bar to your desktop.
That's right.
That's the easy thing to do. And then it'll give you the verbiage will say, you'll see the word link will appear over it before you release the mouse. Once you're done, your shortcut is created on your desktop. I think that's part of what it's doing. You're saying that you can modify the shortcut after you've created it.
No, you can do that too, but bottom line is try and go and bring up Device Manager on a standard account and try and bring up Disk Manager on a standard account.
Yeah, if it isn't an administrator account, you have to figure out how to run as admin.
Right.
Otherwise, you could just simply set up the shortcut from your administrator account.
Well, what you do is you go in the standard account, you go into the Windows File Explorer, you go down to System 32, you find each entry, and you can create the shortcut from those locations. You can give it your own title if you wish to, and then you make one change to the shortcut after it's created to run as an administrator under the advanced options.
Okay, there's an advanced option available when you have a shortcut. You can modify the shortcut
Correct.
to run as admin.
Right. And that way it'll always, in the standard mode, ask you with the pop-up screen, what is your administrator's password?
Yeah, you'll get the UIC.
Right. And then it'll execute whatever that job is. So there's tons and tons of stuff in the System 32 they've been giving you going back to Windows 3 days. And most people have no clue about it.
Yeah, now they're using things like PC Manager and Powertoys to collect up some of that.
Well, that takes care of the cleanup program that I mentioned that's in System 32, but not Device Manager and not the Disk Management.
Yeah, I'm not sure Powertoys does that either.
I don't think so either, not that I remember anyway, and I've got Power Tools. But bottom line is, the only way to do it, and I'd have to change a little bit here. Hang on a minute.
Yeah, so you create these shortcuts from System 32.
Hang on. Wait a minute. Well, you brought that in, but...
And there's some customizing.
So can I roll to a different sub-subject on here?
I don't care one way or the other. If you want to see, I can show you the shortcuts that I'm talking about.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, let's take a peek.
It does require. No, wait a minute. I don't want that one. I don't want that one. Oh, you are going to give me a headache. I can see that right now. Hang on a minute. Oh boy. I got to see if I can figure out how to change this. Nah, I'm not going to be able to do it easily, and it'll take too long. So you must go on to another topic.
Okay, then let's
Right.
continue with what we were doing.
Here. What I was curious here is
You're no longer sharing, by the way,
hold on.
Sanford.
I know.
No,
I
I'm
gotta
not
get
sure.
back.
No, Tim isn't.
Okay, so
There.
what I thought was, this is me. It says supercharge your desktop shortcuts by customizing them.
Yeah.
And if you look in here, the first thing that shows down, if you read down here, it says start in, and it gives the long address of wherever this application's at. But the next line down says shortcut key. Did they not eliminate that from Windows 10?
No, that's still in effect. It's just a case most people don't use the shortcut keys. Okay.
Is it
Now,
available? for
notice
all
on that
programs?
screen that they're showing you the advanced button. If you were wanting to run the device manager or disk manager program in System 32, you would come back after the shortcut is created, click advanced, and you'll put a check mark, run as administrator, and then click OK, and now every time you double click that icon on your desktop, it will AC will come up, ask you for the administrator's password, and it will then execute.
I'm on Windows 11, and I still have that shortcut key that I can create.
Oh
You
yeah,
know what?
I had this on. This goes back to Windows 3.0.
But the reason I just mentioned that is they did take it away for some of the internal programs that are in Windows, aka calculator. You can no longer have a
That's
shortcut
correct.
key for calculator.
That's
And that's what I was like. I was stumbling on that one because I pulled it up. I go, oh, I can pull back shortcut keys on calculator? No.
Yes, you can.
Well,
there is a way of doing it. You got to
There-
find the calculator.exe file and right click it and say, make me a damn shortcut on my desktop.
Ah, okay. That's
Now you
do
might
that.
have to drag it over because it'll put it right either at the bottom of the list or it will put it right underneath that individual entry in the file explorer. And then you may have to drag it off because it won't push it off to the desktop
Yeah.
automatically.
I suspect what I was seeing, I know, Bob, you wanted to say, I suspect what I was seeing is when I did a search for apps and I found calculator, it found the calculator app and
Yeah.
not calculator.exe.
By the way, the calculator app in Windows 11, I think is nicer because it has more ways you can customize it
Right,
than the old calculator.
right.
Okay.
You can have different calculators. You can have accounting, you can have financial, you can have scientific,
Yeah,
you can have a normal calculator for
it's
your groceries.
terrific for college students. No matter what kind of class you're in that you need a calculator, they've got probably a layout template for it. And you, if you want a graphing calculator, it's in there.
And now we
Most
know.
of your apps that are on the desktop, if you right click them, you get the option to run it as administrator.
Yes, but
Yeah.
sometimes that doesn't work on certain tools under standard. And I guarantee you that will not work on the device manager and disk managers out of System 32. You have to use the advanced button, put a check mark in to run as an administrator from that point. Then, when you use the icon by double clicking on it, it will ask you for the administrator's password. And if you put in the right value, it executes. If you don't put in the right password or hit cancel, it takes you back to your desktop. I've been playing with this for years.
Okay, we got anyone else want to cover this some more, or should we go to a new subject? How about something new?
Okay, what do we got?
Got an update to Powertoys.
There have been several. I recently got that update to Powertoys.
Oh, you know what, Bob? You started down the road of the startup repair.
Yeah, startup repair.
And I think this might be a good one to go back to.
5 different ways to get to it.
Yes. All right. First thing, what is it, and why do I need to know about it?
This is something that's primarily in 11. They don't have the equivalent in 10. So if you haven't been on a Windows 11 system, you don't know about the new repair tool. Then you have to get into the details of the repair tool options. And there's some trickery. Well, trickery isn't wrong. It's geekiness to some of the tools. Some of the tools are straightforward. Some of the tools, like command line, you got to know the commands to type in because it works like DOS.
Okay, but what's the purpose here?
It's to fix your machine because it's not booting up, or it's not booting up correctly, or you have some other issue. You can also roll back restore points in case something got hosed up. Maybe you updated a driver, it's causing you headaches. You can go into the repair tool and roll back the last update that you did. Everything in that update gets changed back to what it was. So you may have to do some additional updating again on a selective basis.
And you can roll back either entire Windows updates,
Yes.
which is usually the cumulative update, or you can roll back driver updates.
Right.
That's the most common thing you have to do.
Right.
You update a driver, it isn't right, and you have to roll that back.
Well, I've also had quite often to try and repair a system that's not booting correctly. Sometimes it works, but most of the time it doesn't. That's where you got to go into command line and know a lot of geeky commands.
And I might add, putting in a little plug for Macrim Reflect, they have a boot repair as well. And you have to reboot your computer to do it, but they will restore from your last
Go
backup.
back down to the screen that you scrolled past. No, the other direction.
Up
right
there.
there. That's the new tools. And what they're showing you here is the advanced options screen only. When it first comes up, you only may get 2 or 3 options, and you have to say, I want troubleshooting. Then you have to click on advanced options to get this screen here. You can restore a system restore if it was made with the backup program in Windows. You can go to the UEFI firmware settings in your BIOS. You can uninstall updates, which is using the restore points that most programs will create before installing something new. You have the startup settings. This is a way of getting into the old F8 type settings, so you can go into safe mode with network, or safe mode command line. The one I skipped over is the command prompt. It's the most powerful, but you got to know what your commands are and how to put them in. And boy, they even have a disk partitioner that is so primitive, I have some troubles with it, and I've got to use it from time to time.
Yeah, if I have to deal with partitions or anything like that, I prefer third-party tools.
I use them too, but some problems, you've got to use this.
Okay,
Okay.
so if I recall correctly, there was an update that went out for Windows 11 that was creating a boot loop.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many people are affected. It doesn't matter, but just as a general discussion, if something like that happened after you got an update from Microsoft, is this the tool you would use?
This is
to
the
remove-
target screen. Like I said, there's 3 steps to get to this screen, and you would do the uninstall updates.
Okay.
That
All
gives you
right, but-
restore points.
But getting here, if you're in a loop where it's rebooting and rebooting and rebooting, how do you interrupt that?
That's
Yes.
part of the problem. And quite often, the only way I found to be able to truly get out of such a loop is the power button to shut it down. Now, once I've got it shut down, now I got to find ways of getting in to get the startup options here for repair. And then once I've got that, I can try and use a tool like uninstall updates to uninstall the topmost update, because that's the last one that went in that caused the problem. But it undoes everything you did that was recorded in that restore point.
Right.
So, if
So
I-
how would you get to, if you're in a loop, how would you break the loop?
like I said, the only way I've been able to do it is through the power button. You hold the power button 10 seconds and it will shut the machine off.
Okay.
Now
And-
you got to start it up, and you got to find a way of getting into this menu system before it goes loads up Windows and gets you to the login screen.
So what would you hit? as a
Okay,
key?
the best way to do it is when you turn it back on, as it's showing you the little stars or the roundabout arrow that goes around as Windows is starting up. You hit that power button again to shut it off. Then you start it up again. On the 3rd or 4th try, it should bring up the troubleshooting menu. You then say, I want troubleshooting, I want advanced options, and you're here. Now you got to decide what tool you're going to use for your particular problem. I have to use this periodically, so that's why I
And
know.
you hit it right on the head, what I was looking for, and that is you have to basically do multiple failed boot
Right.
attempts. Windows will automatically register that you've had multiple failed boots, and
That-
it will put you into this startup.
That's right.
That's what I was hoping to convey to our members
Okay.
is there is a way to break out of that, and this is a technique that should work.
And if you accidentally get into here and you still want to do a normal boot, you just go into your startup repair options and it has a normal boot
No,
option.
just
Right.
go up to that arrow that's circled in the upper left
The arrow.
corner and go backwards and you'll get a continue button, and that'll continue
All
on
right.
to boot.
Right.
Okay, that'll work.
Right. And the rest of this gets a little more technical than what we need to do in here. You could read
And
this.
there's F11 during boot.
Right.
On
Lots of-
some machines that will work well, others not so much.
Yeah.
Yes.
It varies depending on the maker and sometimes the model within a maker.
I will also add one more caveat about F11 or any keyboard interrupt that you're trying to do. If you're working with a wireless keyboard,
Yeah.
you may or may not work for you.
Right.
Wired keyboard will absolutely get the signal through, but a wireless may not connect fast enough to interrupt the boot cycle.
It's not only that, when you're trying to do the interrupt, Windows isn't there. So it doesn't know the wireless until Windows loads. So
Right,
you,
right.
it was always recommended years and years back with Dell doing wireless keyboards on their systems. Tech would come out and have to do a certain repair, and they can't do anything because nobody provided them a wired USB keyboard required to be able to get your system back up and running correctly. And after that, you disconnect that keyboard and you stick it in the closet until the next time you need it.
Right. Which is what I try to have a wired keyboard that I could access for those systems that use wireless ones, just in those cases where I need to do something. And I found it
Right.
valuable. It does work.
Yeah, it's a pain in the butt. The Bluetooth does, I think, a slightly better job of the connection than the Wi-Fi does. But in either case, until Windows loads up, it doesn't know how to even talk to a Bluetooth or wireless connected device because the software isn't there until the operating system is loaded.
Yeah, I even find that some of my wired keyboards, it's kind of a toss-up whether or not they'll be active at the time that Windows is booting.
Yeah. And your mileage may vary depending on the keyboards.
Yep.
Okay, does anyone else want to comment on this? We have time for one more question, one more thing that we can explore, or we can wrap this up. Tom? Harry?
Tom, Dick, and Harry?
Dick is not here.
Tom and
We
Harry.
have Tom, Dennis, and Harry.
I thought Bob was mentioning something about the Power Toys.
I did.
Yeah, Power
I
Toys.
don't know what that's about. I mean, I've never used Power Toys, so I don't even know what's there. But
It's a lot of things that aren't included in regular Windows, or things you would have a hard time accessing without
useful to you,
going.
though? You use them?
Yes.
I
Before a
use
certain update came through, OCR from a picture, from an image to text that you could put into a text document like Notepad, that wasn't built into Windows 10 or 11. And Powertoys has an OCR reader. And why is this important?
and
The settings in Windows 11 often are not copyable text. So anything that it's trying to show you in these pop-ups and these flyouts, you have to take a picture of it with the snipping tool. And then from that, if you have Powertoys, it can just simply pull out all the text.
the
It
new
won't always be accurate, but it may be enough so that you can reconstruct it.
the snipping tool now has OCR built into it.
Yeah,
But
that's
the
what I
other
was saying.
thing is, Power Toys are made by Microsoft tech people as a kind of like a sideline. It's not their main job. They do it in their off hours, and they maintain it. They debug it. They add new features, and right now they added a bunch of new features and or improvements to the tools.
Let's see. Power
And
tool.
by the way Powertoys pulls the text out of these flyouts, I think it's a little better than how the snipping tool does it. Your mileage might vary on a different computer.
I've used both, but I would say probably most of the time, based upon what I'm doing, I'll use the Power Toy, and it's for certain things that mysteriously pop up like you're talking about or fly out. I try and use the snipping tool to grab that.
Yeah. Especially if it's a notification or something.
Right.
So
Or an error message.
to circle back to Powertoys, if you do a search, you could on Microsoft's website, you could search for Powertoys and it will come up. The most current version is available directly from the Microsoft website. So you can get it right, so you know it's official if it comes from them, I hope, unless they've been hacked.
It's their employees.
But it does have a lot of features that you can take advantage of, and it lists them all here. You know, advanced pasting for like cut and paste. What's it now requires open AI key. Okay.
No, that's it. There is an AI enhanced version of it.
Okay, so I don't know why we'd want that. Always on.
Always on top is a good one if you want something to stay always on top.
Okay, so if you have something you want to be on the top of your screen all the time, like calculator or a particular document, this might work for you. And it gives you just all you have to do is hit a couple of keys and you're done. Windows Control and T, and that cements something to the to stay on top.
How do you make it get off again?
Well,
there's a
probably the
toggle.
same thing. If you toggle it the same way,
Okay.
you probably hit it again, it disables it.
You have to do 2 or 3 keys to toggle something on, and you use the same keys to turn it off.
That's right. Okay. Command prompts, crop and block, fancy
zones. That's an interesting one.
It makes it easy to complete. Well, quickly.
If you want
zones is like fences.
It's a poor man's fences.
Oh, it's a poor man's fences. Okay.
That's about what it is.
Comprehensive list of the items in Powertoys. Just go down in your search box on the lower bar, put in Powertoys. It'll bring up a whole screen full of stuff about Microsoft's Powertoys.
Right. And you can unlock files that normally would be locked. Resize images.
Images. This one here was the very first Powertoy that I really embraced a lot. Image resizer. Because as many of you know, I take a lot of pictures, but often I'm wind up sharing these pictures to other people, but they don't need the full, high resolution picture that I took. They just need a little smaller size that it's easier to send. So if I'm sending a bunch of files to somebody and they're just going to view them on their desktop, I use Image Resizer, and you could just highlight a whole bunch of images, photo or pictures, and you tell it right click and you choose Image Resizer and you pick the size you want them to become, and it does it. And it makes copies of them and makes them into a smaller size for you. Probably, like I said, one of the best tools I ever used. I used it a lot. Everyone's got their favorites here, but Powertoys has been around a long time, and I think there's a lot of good stuff in here.
The text extractor is one that I've used.
I've not.
And there's a video conference mute for those of you who have trouble not getting.
Extractor. What is it? Can we copy text from anywhere on the screen? Oh, that's pretty cool.
That's what I use when I have like a settings panel, or I list all my applications in the all apps panel. You can't just put a mouse over it, highlight it, and copy it. Because it's not text. It's an image.
This is actually an OCR reader.
Yeah. And it's kind of a toss-up whether that's better or whether what they put in the snipping tool is better. It depends on what you're doing.
Yeah, it really does. Because you can get different experiences from the two tools' OCR capability.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of stuff in there.
And I think we've covered a lot of good topics tonight. Is there anything anyone would like to add to tonight's meeting?
I would like to ask a question, but I don't know that it's a request for tips and tricks. My question is, do you know of a program or application for removal of ads on Android phones?
I'm certain there are, but I don't have one particular because I don't use the phones like a computer.
When do they pop up, Tom, these ads?
Well, they pop up so much it's ridiculous trying to read the document out there.
Wait, are you saying, is it showing up on your browser or just showing up on your phone?
On my phone.
Just your phone? You just pick up your phone and all of a sudden a pop-up shows up on there?
Well, when I pick up my phone and start looking at something that's been sent to me, all sorts of ads get thrown in the middle of the text.
An email or a link?
It would be a link.
It'd be a link, so you're using a browser.
I don't know what browser it is. I couldn't tell you.
Well,
Yeah.
It's on the phone, but your phone has a browser built into it.
Yes.
Your phone is a computer, and
Right.
all computers have some browser.
So it's the browser, when you're browsing a web page is when you're getting the ads.
Yes.
Okay, so what browser is your phone using?
Honestly, I don't know.
Well, look
By,
at the phone.
by default, Android uses Google Chrome.
There you go. By default, it's Chrome. That's probably most likely what it is.
And
So
unfortunately, add-ons really aren't available for Android Chrome.
So there's your problem. Is you're probably we believe is you're using Google Chrome. You can use a different browser on your phone. Just go ahead and download Firefox. You could download Safari. You could download DuckDuckGo, any of those, and use and make those your default browser. You could put plugins on those to eliminate blockers, ad blockers.
It's a computer just like your desktop and your laptop. There's really only a difference in the size and what operating system is on it.
Right.
Yeah.
But you can download a different browser for that.
Let's say Tom wanted to put in DuckDuckGo, how would he put that on his phone? How would you do that?
Go to DuckDuckGo and you download the program.
For Android.
It'll automatically
under his Google Chrome, he would look up DuckDuckGo and say download, and it would do it to the phone.
You could go to the App Store.
Yes. I find it in apps.
The Google Store, and you could go and look up DuckDuckGo. It'll find it if it's listed there as as an entry, and download it right from there. Or install it on his phone, and then somewhere in the course of conversation or interaction, it will give you the option on a browser, making it your default browser if that's what you want to do.
And I just checked. DuckDuckGo browser is available for Android.
Okay, so most of the browsers out there are available to work on all the platforms. Most of them, except for Linux. Those are different animals.
Most browsers work on Linux. Edge just recently came.
That's correct.
Okay, so you could probably run Edge on your phone. I know you could run Safari on there. Safari is available, which is the Apple product. You can run DuckDuckGo. You can run Firefox. You can run
Brave,
Chrome, whatever you want. There's plenty of browsers out there. Choose a different browser and put an ad blocker on there.
And here's something kind of scary. Microsoft is now saying the Edge with AI is available for Android.
That
means your phone will outsmart you too.
Well, I have quite a things that would outsmart me, and I know there's a lot of ad blockers out there that I could either purchase or get for free, but since there are so many, I just don't trust it.
Well, that's where you have to do research in all of them and find out what people think are the best ones and try them out one at a time.
Yeah, go find your
In most cases, you don't even have to pay a fee.
Right.
Yeah,
the ones I have on my phones, I don't pay for. The ones I use on my desktop, I don't pay for.
Best ad blockers for Android 2024. It's from a weird website, but there are plenty of others.
You want to put that link in the chat if you just can?
I'd rather not, because I don't know whether this is a reliable site.
Understood. So I like your your angle there, Bob. Because he doesn't.
You can use one of my favorite ad limiters. Ghostery is available for Android.
Okay.
Ghostery.
That one I know. Okay.
AdBlock Browser. There's a browser called AdBlock Browser in the Play Store. I don't know if it's the same as AdBlock Plus, but you could look it up.
Yeah.
So there are browsers that do claim to block ads or give better privacy, and they are available for Android.
Yeah, there are quite a few out there, and I just didn't want to grab them. Some are free, some are costly, and I
Use,
just
You
use
have
the
to do the
reviews, see what people
research.
say.
If you
Um,
got a problem, that's what the computers are for. To
you can always,
find information, make a decision, and go with it.
and you can always uninstall it.
And there are Reddit discussion threads about this. And ad block for Android.
Hmm.
And there's a Reddit question. How do you get rid of the ads in Chrome on Android
You go.
from 2022?
okay.
All right. Thank you,
I'll do some
everybody.
more.
Thanks for attending, and we'll see you all next month. Or our next meeting is what, Tim?
Well, wait a minute. Just before you say goodbye,
Oh, I'm sorry.
what about August?
What about August? We have an August meeting.
No.
Wait, do we? Hold on. Let me.
You had something planned for August.
Yes, I do, but I might be able to do mine remotely.
Okay.
In August. I'm scheduled to be again up in Rochester, and maybe I should be able to do my meeting that night from my friend's house again, like I did before.
Okay. Well, I just brought it up because I remembered about that.
Yeah, let's see.
Now, are we talking about West Side or about tips and tricks?
That would be West Side.
Okay.
West Side, not tips. West Side, I was scheduled on the 1st. And I'll be able, if I'm up there, I'll be able to do it from his house. So that should probably work.
Okay.
Make sure
Stop
you
recording.
I'll make
get
sure
one of
before
those
then.
antennas I showed you before.
Get one of those
Oh,
antennas.
yeah, right.
Well, don't say, oh, yeah, all right.
What did you show him? One of these external,
Recording
Yes.
stopped.
one of these big external antennas.
Yeah,
that
but I
goes
don't
up
know if I'll